أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. Welcome to our 2020 Ramadan series, coming to you from the Muslim Community Organization, precisely from Masjid al-Noor on the 42nd Street, Des Moines, Iowa, in the United States. I am your sister Suraya Abdullah, who is here to host the female session today. This session has to be hosted by a woman because it has to do with the special and most honored, most unique and most important creatures created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is woman. So I'm here to discuss with you Islamic rulings pertaining to Muslim women and fasting in the month of Ramadan. And I am going to do my best, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, with the Quran and Hadith and scholars perspective, inshallah. So the first thing I would like to look at will be the purpose of Ramadan. But before I do that, I'll have to submit myself into the hands of Allah to guide me. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. So, what is the purpose of fasting in the month of Ramadan? Why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even prescribe on his believers to fast in the month of Ramadan? With this, I delved through Quran chapter 2 verse 183 through to 187, and I gathered three purposes of fasting in the month of Ramadan. The first has to do with attaining taqwa. The next has to do with sense of gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the third one has to do with moral and spiritual training. Taqwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Quran chapter 2 verse 183 categorically that أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. O you who believe, fasting is enjoined on you or prescribed upon you just as it was prescribed upon those who came before you, that you may attain taqwa, that you may attain piety. How do we attain piety? To the best of my knowledge here, taqwa has to do with the shield between our human desire and the obedience to Allah. The desire that we could have met, we have all the resources, we have all the means to meet this desire, but for the fear of Allah, we abstain from it for a period of time. This brings us so close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that makes us attain taqwa. The next has to do with sense of gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How, where, and why do we extend gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said again in verse 185 in that same chapter 2 that شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. That's Ramadan, or fasting in the month of Ramadan. Fasting is enjoyed on you in the month of Ramadan, and it is in the month of Ramadan that we revealed Quran, which is a form of guidance to mankind and also a distinguisher between truth and false. You and I as Muslims believe that Quran is a constitution to guide our life. It is a fundamental and basic framework that is given to us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide our lives. And so if we consider this as a prestigious gift, then we need to extend or express our gratitude to the giver of this prestigious gift. And that is why we fast in the month of Ramadan, to express our gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is said by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself after telling us he revealed Quran in the month of Ramadan. He went on to prescribe what to do in the month of Ramadan and what not to do, who to fast, who not to fast, what we can do and at what time. And at the end of it, he said, وَلِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. And that we may praise, and that you may praise him, and that will make you grateful from the sayings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That we should be praising him will make us tashkurun, will make us grateful. So this is what I gathered, number 2. And the third one has to do with Ramadan, fasting in the month of Ramadan, serving as a means or a tool or a source of more moral and spiritual training. Why? In verse 187, when Allah prescribed to us what is lawful to us, what we can do, what we cannot do, at what time, and who to fast and who not to fast, and in case we don't fast, what to do. This is a kind of training. It is something that you have the means to do. You have the possession. You have everything to meet this desire, but you have been forbidden to do it for a given period of time. Why that? That is to train you to have self-discipline, so that even after Ramadan, if you find yourself in a situation where you cannot have access to these resources, you should be able to discipline yourself to help yourself out without going into trouble. For instance, if you find yourself after the month of Ramadan where you cannot have access to your spouse or cannot have access to food for a given period of time, you should be able to stand this in order not to go for someone else's wife or someone else's husband to cause you trouble or to go steal. For you to be able to abstain from this, that means you have gone through a training, and that training has made you a better person. So in a nutshell, this is what I gathered from the purposes of Ramadan. The next I would like to touch on has to do with Huyad. Who is Huyad? Huyad is a woman who finds herself in menstruation. And what do we even understand by menstruation from the Islamic point of view? I can define menstruation in the Islamic perspective based on hadith that was narrated by Fatima bint Abi Hubaysh, who happened to be a female companion of the Prophet Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with her. She went to the Prophet complaining to him that she's having a prolonged flow of blood in between her menstrual cycle. And the Prophet replied to her that she should, he replied to her that that flow of blood she sees is not menstruation. It is rather a blood oozing from her blood vessels. So that could be an abnormality. So this tells us that it is not all blood that oozes out is menstrual blood. Some blood could be abnormal, or they could have medical issues that we need to attend to. Another hadith was also reported by one female companion by name Hamna bint Jahsh, who happened to be a sister of one of the Mu'minun, Zainab bint Jahsh, a wife of the Prophet ﷺ. May Allah be pleased with them all. Hamna went to the Prophet ﷺ reporting to him the same or similar issue, that she's having a prolonged flow of blood. And the Prophet replied to her that she should observe her menses for 6 to 7 days. And after the 7th day, she should take her spiritual bath and continue with her salah and fasting. So this tells us that should you find yourself in a condition where you have blood flow for more than 6 or 7 days, after the 7th day, just take your spiritual bath and continue with your salah and fasting. Then you can seek medical attention if possible. The next thing I would like to touch on has to do with this same woman and menstruation. Should a woman wake up in the morning, go to bed in the night with the expectation that her menstrual flow would continue the next day? She wakes up at Fajr and realizes no blood, no stain, nothing. But it is past Fajr. Can she continue with the fasts, and can the fasting be be counted on? The answer is no. Why? Because every act of worship is based on niyyah, that is intention. Once she did not go to sleep a night before with the intention of waking up to fast that subsequent day, she cannot, or her fasting cannot be counted as one. Just that she can take her bath, begin to pray, abstain from food and drink, just as other conditions that meet fasting, but we call that imsak, just abstinence from food and water and conjugal relation. So till it is sunset, then she eats. She can only earn reward for that form of worship, but that fasting is not counted as one of the 29 to 30 days of fasting required of her. She has to make up that fasting after the month of Ramadan. And should a woman also find herself in a situation where she woke up with the intention of fasting, she took her suhoor, that is dawn meal, and took the intention, continue with her fasting, and almost to the end of the day, then she sees her menstrual flow. I am sorry. I know how frustrating and devastating this situation is, because I'm a woman and I do understand it. But I would encourage myself and encourage other women to look at the reward that it comes with and console ourselves with that. Even if it is a minute more to the time of iftar or the time of breaking your fast, I am sorry, that fasting is not counted. That fasting is nullified based on that condition of haid. Because if a woman is in menstruation is one of the conditions that nullifies fasting. So once she sees her menses, even if it is a minute to the time of breaking our fast, I'm sorry to say that fasting is not counted, but she is going to earn a bigger reward for the effort she made since morning till the evening. Then now let's look at a woman in cooking in the month of Ramadan. Traditionally, it is everywhere. Women are mostly found in the kitchen cooking, baking, frying, toasting. This is what most women do in the month of Ramadan. It is okay to do it because it is more rewarding for every for every fasting person who gets anything to taste or to break his fast from anything someone makes. You earn equal reward of that fasting person. So it is okay for us to engage ourselves in cooking to feed our family and the rest of the members of the society. It's cool to do it, but how do we taste the food? How do we know if the food has met all the ingredients needed after cooking? Can we taste the food? Yes, we can taste the food based on a statement. Ibn Abbas, one of the renowned companions of the Prophet ﷺ, may Allah be pleased with him, said that it is only things that goes through our system or into our tummy that breaks our fasts. So on this base, if you taste food on your tongue, spit it out, rinse your mouth, and continue with your fast, you are cool to go with it. But just make sure you didn't swallow it. You don't let it go through your throat into the stomach. Once it gets into the stomach, then your fasting is nullified. So some scholars will say if there is an option, or if there is any alternate means of you being able to measure how much salt or sugar or ingredient goes into your food without necessarily tasting it, if you can do it, fine. It is better, so that you don't even take a pain of tasting it, spitting out, rinsing your mouth, and continue with your fast. But if you find yourself in a situation where you cannot do without tasting it, taste it, spit it out, rinse your mouth, and you are good to go. And lastly, I would like to touch on women in Taraweeh or women in Tahajjud. What is the ruling? Is it obligatory for a woman to go for the night prayers, to walk all the way to the masjid for her night prayers? To the best of my knowledge, Taraweeh and Tahajjud are just highly recommended acts of worship, but they are not obligatory acts. So a woman is not obliged to walk all the way from her home and go to the masjid to pray this optional prayers, although highly recommended. But the Prophet ﷺ in another narration would say it is better for women to stay in their homes and pray. That is more rewarding than even them walking to the masjid to pray. There is not anything subjugating to women. I know sometimes we do misconstrue some of the restrictions given women, but it is for our own safety, it is for our own honor that Allah put such restrictions. You can take it from this perspective. For a man even walking all the way from his house to the masjid all by himself in the middle of the night, how safe is it? Not to even talk of a woman walking all the way by herself from her house to the masjid to pray the tahajjud prayer. So if she finds herself in a situation where she feels lazy to do it all by herself, or she feels spiritually weak to do it all by herself, and it is safe for her to go to the masjid and do it, that is cool, that is okay, it's fine, it is permissible for her to go. Because the Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said, or to have warned his companions, may Allah be pleased with them, that لا تمنعوا إماء الله مسجد الله لا تمنعوا إماء الله مساجد الله. Do not, he told his companions that do not refrain or prevent the slaves of Allah, the female slaves of Allah, from going to the masjid to pray. So it means if a woman wants to go to the masjid and she feels safe to do it, she's okay to do it without any restrictions from her husband or any other person, no matter how jealous her husband may be. If he fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and love the Prophet, then he has to adhere to the sayings of the Prophet without for not refraining his wife from going to the masjid. However, in which condition can the woman go to the masjid to pray? She is also ordained to fully cover herself to go to the masjid. The first condition is to make sure going to the masjid is safe for her. She's not going to face any form of challenge or any difficulty in going to the masjid, and she's not also going to find herself mingling with men and struggling and other stuff. If all these are met, then she should also fully cover herself. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated in Surah An-Nur, saying to the Prophet to say to the woman, وَلَا تُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ إِلَّا مَا زَهَرَ مِنْهَا. Tell the believing women that they should not expose their adornment except for what is apparent or what is necessary to be seen. So this tells us that we can go to the masjid to pray, all right, if we feel safe to do it, if we feel comfortable to do it, but we need to cover ourselves fully in a way that we can earn our reward, at the same time earn our respect and honor as women. So thank you.